Hey folks, welcome back to the iPhone Roundup Show. I'm your host, Nick the Dude. Thanks a lot for tuning in. On the iPhone Roundup podcast, we find the best games on the iTunes App Store and give you the rundown on what's worth playing each and every week. Support iPhone Roundup by subscribing to our show via iTunes or YouTube. You can also link or embed our videos on your blog, Twitter, or Facebook page. We've got another great show for you this week, looking at a bunch of really cool new iPhone games. We've got reviews of the adventure RPG Zenonia, the sports sim Manage Your Football Club, and the rhythm-based original Lilt line. Plus we've got looks at the card game Durak, the rhythm-savvy memory game AEIO, and the circular shooter Kryzer. With so many games to look at, what do you say we head right into the reviews? Zenonia is an adventure RPG in the vein of Zelda: A Link to the Past, but with more of an emphasis on story. And when I say emphasis, I mean there's a crap ton of it. The actual combat is really satisfying, but it seems like I spent more time fighting off immense amounts of character dialogue. I've never been that into these RPG stories, but if you are, the localization work to translate the game into an English-friendly title is top-notch. The story can actually unfold in different ways depending on decisions you make inside the game world. And there's even a dynamic good and evil meter that reflects your character's actions. Leveling up your character is really enjoyable, and you get to allocate points to attributes as well as skills, which are basically special attacks. There's a different skill tree for each of the three classes: Paladin, Warrior, and Assassin. There's also hundreds of different collectible items to outfit your character with. The D-pad controls take a little getting used to, but the developer's done a good job of tweaking the movement of your character so he avoids most obstacles automatically. In the end, Zenonia is a full-featured and full-length RPG that seems well-suited to short or long play bursts and is a nice option for the more hardcore iPhone gamer. I've always been a fan of the franchise mode in the console versions of most sports games, and being a general manager of a sports team is one of my dream jobs. Manage Your Football Club brings a solid chunk of that console franchise experience over to the iPhone. Of course, this isn't American football, so I know I've lost a lot of folks right there. I'm by no means a soccer fanatic, but when it comes to managing a team, some things are universal. And anyway, it was a nice opportunity to learn a little more about the game itself. Manage Your Football Club includes the real teams and rosters of the 4 major English football leagues, youth development squads, contract negotiations, as well as buying and selling players on the open markets, and tons of team strategy adjustments so you can tweak your team's style of play to exactly how you want it. If there is one missing ingredient, it's the lack of any in-game graphics, which isn't really necessary in a game like this anyway. However, there is a nice simulation interface where you can get play-by-play and stats faster than real-time for every game or fixture, as they say. If you're a football geek, then this game is a must-see. If you want to learn more about football or just like sports management sims, then you should think about giving Manage Your Football Club a look. Lilt line is one of those games that seems like it could only happen on an iPhone. It combines the device's touch interface with its tilt controls and audio capabilities to create a game that feels like a natural fit for the platform while not feeling gimmicky at all. You're controlling a line moving from left to right on the screen using tilt controls, trying to keep it inside the ever-narrowing and weaving walls of the board. Simultaneous to this, you also need to tap on the screen whenever the line passes through a white vertical stripe, similar to a Rock Band style mechanic. If you time it correctly, the music will play perfectly. If not, you'll lose part of the music until you can tap into the rhythm again, hopefully on the next white stripe. The music in the game is all dub style from an artist named 16-Bit and takes the game to another level. Lilt line demands your undivided attention with some of its intense rhythms and its twisting levels. Lilt line is an exciting concept that works perfectly on the iPhone, and I'm looking forward to future versions. Normally I don't like reviewing card games on the show because they don't always translate very well to video, but Durak is so well produced and fun that I had to give it a shout. In very basic terms, Durak breaks down like this. It's you versus 1, 2, or 3 other players, and there's a trump suit every game. Play starts with one player as the attacker placing a card, and then the other player or players are then forced to defend by either placing a higher card of the same suit or a trump card on top of it, or by placing a card of the same value next to the attacking card, which the attacker then has to defend against. If a player can't defend against a card, they're forced to take all the attacking and defending cards into their hand. The goal of the game is to get rid of all your cards, but you get replenished back up to 6 cards after every turn, so the strategy is to go out on a single turn or wait it out until the draw pile is exhausted. I can't say enough about how amazingly smooth and accurate the interface is. You never play a card you didn't want to, and Durak somehow translates the feel of a real card game to the iPhone. You can also play versus other players over the same Wi-Fi network and change the card backs to any picture stored on your iPhone. A great game, definitely worth a look. A simple twist on the Simon sequence memory game has made AEIO a frequent diversion every time I get a few minutes to burn. The twist in AEIO is that along with having to tap blocks in the proper sequence a la Simon, you also get a bonus for tapping them in the proper rhythm. And as the game progresses, it goes from having 4 blocks to 9, and possibly even more, but I haven't got that far. Apparently either my memory or rhythm is not so good. There's Facebook integration via Score Loop, and the game's interface and sound works great to keep you entertained and having fun. Kryzer Prologue is a nicely polished but basic shooter where your ship and its bullets rotate around a circle, and the only control you have is to move your ship closer to or farther from the center of the board. You fire continuously, and vanquished enemies release extra time power-ups, which you need to collect because when your time runs out, the game is over. Colliding with enemies will also subtract 30 seconds from your time. I like the concept of the circular shooter, although the controls took some time to get used to. At 99 cents, it's a great little game, and I'm looking forward to a sequel with some added depth. Alright folks, that's our show for this week. Thanks a lot for tuning in. You can get show updates at twitter.com/iPhoneRoundup, and you can email questions, comments, or suggestions to iPhoneRoundup@gmail.com. Also, if you're a developer, you can send promo codes to your game to that same email address, and we may review it on the show. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.